Hello there, everybody. What Culture Wrestling's Adam Cleaver here, joined by, I can't quite see, I think it's Andy Murray for some late afternoon news update coming at you like a bee, like a ray, like a buzzard. There has been some seismic shifts reported by Sports Illustrated at WWE.com concerning Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman, and also, in a way, Vince McMahon. This is big news.
Big news. So the latest coming out of Mr. Justin Barrasso over at Sports Illustrated is that these gentlemen have been employed by WWE as, checks notes, executive directors. This was broke by Barrasso just literally minutes ago. We're recording it pretty much as it hit Twitter. WWE have confirmed the news with them, and they are expected to make an initial announcement later today. So they're coming in. There's no details on what exactly their jobs will entail at the moment, but it is not expected that either of them will involve some kind of TV storyline. Obviously, Heyman will probably continue on as Brock Lesnar's advocate, but they're probably not going to be on-air authority figures, is what I believe that means.
The big bottom line with this is that Heyman has been put in almost complete creative control of Raw. We believe in Bischoff in the same sort of responsibility over on SmackDown. Interestingly, a role reversal of their on-screen gimmicks from many years ago. But
it is, yeah.
Does this mean that Vince McMahon is effectively taking a major step back in the creative process of WWE? Can we read that far into it?
Well, it certainly could. Basically all we've got to go by at the moment is the job title, right? And the job title is Executive Director. That sounds quite highfalutin, but a lot of job titles in WWE sound quite highfalutin. So we probably won't know until WWE come through with their official release, which should be within the next few hours, ideally. Hopefully it doesn't come out before this video gets released, brother, otherwise we're in some trouble. But no, it's a really interesting move regardless. I think the one that will enthuse, can't say THs very well, the most is probably Heyman, right?
Heyman, definitely, yes.
ECW, that was pretty good. Paul Heyman's SmackDown, of course, a classic era of the show. Bischoff...
Bischoff's Bischoff.
Bischoff's Bischoff.
It'll be different.
It most certainly will. But it is really interesting that Heyman's going to Raw as well. Although I guess, Lesnar is technically a Raw superstar, so he can maintain some kind of control over his career. But what's really interesting to me about the Heyman situation, and this was pointed out by Michael Sidgwick, is the last time he had any kind of real widespread creative control in the company was at the end of December to Dismember. If you remember his face there, didn't exactly end in the best of terms, brother. So
I mean, it's quite obviously Heyman is already working with WWE. We know he had a hand in a lot of the Ronda programming, and his hand has already been in that company. We've seen positive results, so it makes sense that he's getting the Raw gig. Very much WWE still see that as their flagship brand, and it is reported as well in this that Bischoff will be working directly with Fox when he goes to SmackDown. But it is still the B show, and Bischoff's surname is B, so that does line up quite nicely. But I mean, creative is the problem in WWE at the minute. It's not the talent, it's not the in-ring stuff. Yep. We know fine well, creative is the problem. Storylines go nowhere, things contradict themselves, they drop ideas, they drop superstars. It's not working from a creative perspective. So to hear the word creative being mentioned in both these new job titles is very exciting. From two people they know the industry. I'm sure they are as aware of the problems with the company as anybody else is. Now, whether or not Bischoff would have been your pick for SmackDown, or indeed Heyman would have been your pick for Raw, is another matter entirely. They are the people WWE have gone with for these new, as yet undefined roles within the company. But I think we can allow people to get quite excited with this, because these are positions that are clearly already occupied by Vince. Whatever it is, because he has such total control over things, these are jobs that he currently fulfills. So this does imply, if not confirm, that he is going to be taking a step back from the company. You could imagine them both being on talkback. You could imagine them both being in the writers' room, getting everything put together. I'm happy. This is good news, I think.
Yeah, I mean, anything that shakes up the creative process and the writing teams and the way television is produced in WWE at this stage has to really be seen as a good thing, because even though, the problem with WWE, it's so inconsistent. There's great stuff one segment and really awful badness the next. It's all over the place. It really needs one clear guiding hand. I remember a couple of months ago when they were recruiting for that continuity inspector.
God, we had a good laugh about that, didn't we?
Yeah, that was a good little popper. But they definitely need something along those lines. They are in dire need of a big creative shake-up. The current process clearly isn't working. The 40 writers, a lot of who've never worked in wrestling before. If you go onto the recruitment page, they have a hidden YouTube video where they have a bunch of writers talking.
It's really bad.
Yeah, talking about their experience and why you should come to work for WWE and all this stuff. And one of them literally says, "I have years of experience in literally everything apart from WWE or wrestling." They need wrestling guys in. Heyman and Bischoff are certainly that. Both of them have track records of varying levels of success. If Vince is taking a step back, though, it's a good transition, I think.
Not to toot my own cock too much here, but I am great at toot. I did say on Last Minute Rumours that if Stomping Ground ended up being what we all thought Stomping Ground was going to be, this was surely going to be a breaking point for the company. And the buy rates were terrible. The matches weren't overly well received with the exception of one or two. And then we saw on Raw the next night the crowd dropped to a record low almost of 3,500. And it does look, this news coming mere days after that does sort of feel like words have been said. They realise that change is now necessary, and this is the first step they've made in that regard. Do you think, I mean, we're getting purely into speculation territory here, but do you think this is Vince's decision, or do you think people have sat him down and gone, look, we just need to do something else?
I think it's very much Vince's decision. I mean, it's very unlike him to show that level of self-awareness and to come to this realisation. I think he's probably had a lot of people in his ear, but I think ultimately he will have pushed back against that for as long as absolutely possible, and he will have come to it on his own terms. It's Vince, isn't it? You know, he's been the sole string puller for so damn long that it's almost mental to think that at 70 odd years old he would change from that.
Just to take the other side of this slightly, not to be negative about this, but Michael says we could also point out that the last time we allowed ourselves to get this kind of excited about a new appointment in this kind of position in WWE was for Bruce Pritchard, and I think we'd all agree there's not been a noticeable change in anything really since that happened. Is there a chance this is all purely cosmetic and we might just see Bischoff on SmackDown a bit and that'll be the end of it?
Yeah, I mean, the cynical and most likely take, unfortunately, is that this will change absolutely nothing. But, you know, man, Easy on TV might be fun. Like, you know, he's a cool character. We'll see if that comes
Until we get a few months down the line and nothing has changed, I am going to maintain a level of positivity about this. I'm excited about what they could both bring to the roles, whatever they end up being. I'm gonna tune in more to, well, with more enthusiasm certainly, just to see where this goes.
I'm going to watch it twice.
Yeah.
6 hours of Raw.
Well, we're going to get 3 hours of SmackDown soon, so it is 6 hours of television they're both going to have to put together when this finally gets on Fox. You see, we told you if there was more information, there'd be more information. And wait, there is more, because as this story has been unfolding, more developments about the specifics of their role have come to light, and specifically the backlight on Andy Murray's phone.
There. So Mike Johnson from PW Insider has come through with some fresh, new, hot, juicy, spicy information on the Paul Heyman Eric Bischoff deal. There's some background on how the hires came to light, but we don't need to know that. What's important here is the specific details of how these guys are going to operate, and I'm going to quote you to this from the PW Insider article verbatim. We are told that they will be overseeing all aspects of their respective, of their individual series, answering directly to Vince McMahon. They are now at the top of the pyramid respectively for Raw and SmackDown, but obviously McMahon will always have the last say. One WWE source has compared their roles to Paul Levesque's in NXT. That they will be in charge, but it's still Vince's company.
Wait, isn't that Triple H?
That is Triple H.
Holy mother of God, that is actually massive news, isn't it? Because have you ever seen any of the backstage stuff or any of the behind-the-scenes stuff for NXT? Triple H's role in NXT is so hands-on. Like, he literally talks people through their entrances and rehearsals. He goes through their stories. He goes through absolutely everything with them, doesn't he? So if they're going to be doing that for Raw and SmackDown, dear God almighty, that's huge.
Yeah, I mean, NXT is Triple H's. It's his project. He writes most of the storylines. He does all this. He does that, blah, blah, blah. He oversees everything from the ground up. Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff are now apparently going to be doing this on Raw and SmackDown. I'm even more excited now.
Yeah, whatever we said a few minutes ago in the video, can't remember now because it was like 20 minutes of our real life. It's going to be mere seconds of yours. That, but more now, because now I'm really, that could be... Jesus, so Heyman is going to effectively be running Raw completely creatively.
Paul Heyman.
And Easy-E on Friday nights on Fox.
I mean, Fridays will be hilarious.
Yeah.
But look, I don't want to pour too much cold water on it. Like, the level of control they have is extremely encouraging, particularly for Heyman's standpoint. Like we just said, half an hour ago in our time, like you just said, the process is broken, they need some new stuff. This is new stuff. Stuff. Hit 10 minutes, bang.
Any word in the thing you've just read about Russo taking over 205 Live, or not yet?
Save that for November.
Save that for November, right. So, yes, I think you already did the outro, but we'll do another one anyway. Also, we have swapped seats. Let us know what you made of all this in the comments below. By God, it's big news, isn't it? And of course, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. But in the meantime, this is the last time, we promise. If there's any more updates, you'll have to do that in tomorrow's news.
Yeah, no, it's okay. We'll come in at 6 or something.
And, on the off chance, follow us both on Twitter. You can get Andy Murray at
Andy H. Murray. Yeah, there's no H.
There's no H this time.
H
and
from Steps.
Hey, no, God, with the same name as Will Smith. Never mind. And myself, Adam Cleary, Adam Clery. You can get us all on WhatCulture WWE. But in the meantime, yeah, thanks so much. This is big. Goodbye.